We know that when sailing the Caribbean or retiring to do some traveling by sailboat, a lot of people choose a French boat, Beneteau or Jeanneau. And it's the comfort, those wide sugar scoops and aft cabins. They aren't really looking to cross an ocean anyway, and these French boats are a very good fit for the job. But what if you wanted all that comfort and the ability to sail very, very well, to point higher than anybody else, to sail faster, to really stretch your sailing legs anytime you want to, but not lose any of the creature comforts those French boats have? What if you wanted the highest level of performance you could get and a boat to retire with and do some Caribbean exploring? What then? Every once in a while, something very special comes along, and in 2021, the racing favorite J-Boats released a new flagship cruising boat for just that type of person. Someone who demands cruising accommodations to be comfortable, but also the ability to sail, like sailing is in their blood. This is the J45, and at first glance, it is beautiful. These are the press photos from their website, and they show a boat that's sculpted like a Ferrari. It's sexy and aggressive and very, very fast. A recent test on a light wind day found the boat charging along at 7.7 knots, pointed as high into the wind as she would go in 10 knots of breeze. 7.7 on the upwind, and on the downwind, double digits are very possible. We got on this one in Newport recently, and you'll note the in-boom furling for the mainsail, so you could still have the benefit of horizontal battens, but the convenience of a furling sail. Getting on board, we note the jib tracks very well inboard, so we know this thing will point high, as well as low friction ring systems to further tweak and trim that headsail. Up front, this boat is fitted with a lot of hardware. First, we have the inner forestay with a furling jib fixed to it. J-Boats did this so that if you're plowing upwind, which I'll remind you a gentleman is not supposed to do, but if you are and there's just too much wind for your headsail, you can roll up that primary headsail and unroll the inner forestay headsail, which will be much smaller but still just as good upwind as the primary was. So you can keep not being a gentleman even when the going gets wet and wild. And forward of those two furlings is a third one. Usually we'd see a code 0 here, but you can also have an ASIM on here. Under all this sail power is the roller for the anchor and a bobstay, and underfoot is both an anchor chain locker and a sail locker. New for 2024 is a special cruising edition of the J45, featuring a custom 6-foot draft all-lead keel and optimized carbon spar package at 64-foot 5 air draft, designed for easier access to shallow cruising grounds and more restrictive waterways, including the ICW on the east coast of the US. The standard keel is 7.6 feet. We note here J-Boat's very intentional use of hiding the lines beneath deck plates. Everything from the mast goes under a panel in the coach top, and the main sheet system heads under the side decks. No clutter and nothing to trip over when you're running up and down the side decks in race conditions. Jay has really taken their time and done the engineering here to make sure that performance is the thing that this boat does first. A solid vang holds up the massive boom, and every line is very carefully laid out with minimal drag and then hidden on its way back to the cockpit, where you'll find the main sheet traveler, not where a cruising boat would put it. Usually these terminate on the coach top for mid-boom sheeting, but in the racing world, that's not good enough. We want end-boom sheeting and easy reach of the helm, and that's what Jay did here. The main traveler is on the cockpit floor with trimming available right at both helms. And yes, it has two helms, but it's a single rudder underneath. A very deep high aspect blade stays in control even at maximum heel, and because it's a single blade right behind the prop, you'll still be able to maneuver in marinas. The twin rudders you usually see rely exclusively on the bow thruster to maneuver, and this boat won't have that problem. At 23,000 pounds, this boat weighs just about as much as any other 40-something foot cruiser, but a lot of thought was put into that weight in the J factory. For example, they put the water tank all the way up in the front in the bow because they know two things: First, a racer would never have water in there, so keeping it up front won't hurt the performance in a race. And second, they know a cruiser is going to bring all kinds of stuff on board and really weigh down the middle of this boat with food and extra parts and tools. And they'll weigh down the back with a dinghy and solar panels. So putting the water tank up in the bow means it'll all balance out once it's loaded down. They've really thought about this stuff for us, and it shows. Headed past the electric coach top winches and big screens, we're on our way inside. And this is where J-Boats really tried very hard to give the cruiser everything they would need to make this more than just a very fast and fun sailboat. And what they've done here is going to be a little bit hate it or love it, unfortunately. It's a very French boat on the inside. The joinery and woodwork feels extremely Jeanneau or Beneteau. The one added touch Jay does make is to make sure there are rock solid handholds everywhere from the ceiling to the countertop, the edge of the nav desk, and everything in between. Past the C-shaped dinette and keel set mast, we enter the forward owner's cabin, which is a very nice size. Not often do you enter a V-berth and feel like it's way too big, but in this case it really is massive. There's so much extra space in here, feels like the bed could have been a foot longer and it wouldn't have mattered. This is nice, but on a boat that is this light, I'm sure the V-berth is not going to be the best place to sleep in a lumpy anchorage. I expect this will bounce up and down fairly aggressively in some situations. The owner's head is big and spacious with a separate shower and very roomy, but it does still feel very French boat in here. Keeping all this cabinetry light was likely a goal, so I don't expect we'll find any solid woods in here or real teak. This boat is the 2-cabin model that most people will buy, and the galley is truly huge. This is a lot of space for a 45-footer and offers everything you'll need to really live on board for extended periods while you gallivant around the Caribbean at 7.7 knots on the upwind, playing with all the headsail options you have. One of the benefits of the 45 is you often do get a dedicated nav station, which is great if you need a place to work with your laptop. A comfortable place to sit is important. It can make or break your living on a sailboat experience. Starboard aft is the second head, and it's again huge and spacious, leading to the storage and workroom. This can be a third cabin if you want, but this has access all the way back to the steering gear and other systems for service. This is a great little garage for the cruising couple that buy this boat to have storage for all their tools and spare parts, but one would have to be careful not to put too much weight in here because the other side to balance out is just a regular cabin. Though the weight of the galley on the port side and this garage on starboard might balance out depending on how much stuff you bring on this boat. This boat fits a very specific personality, and it's easy for me to see it because I happen to have just that personality type. I'd like a cruising boat that I can be very comfortable on in an anchorage with lots of space for room and room to work and an extra bedroom for guests, but a Beneteau or Jeanneau would leave me wanting for something because I'm an avid sailor and I love to go fast and I trim endlessly to get every knot out of every point of sail. I ran the symmetric spinnaker when leaving Georgetown just because I could. I'm exactly the type of person that would buy this boat because while the French boats do give you all the comfort and space you can need, this is something special because it does that while still being able to go very fast and be a very capable racer. My only complaint about this boat might be the interior woodwork and joinery because it's more Jeanneau and less island packet, but I understand the need to keep it light. The other problem is, of course, the price. This is a $700,000 boat plus options, and $700,000 is a market that includes everything from the biggest and best of the French boats to big catamarans. To buy this boat in a market flooded with everything else for relatively the same price, you'd really have to want this boat specifically, and I really do. What do you think? Has Jay hit a home run here with the 45? Let's talk about it in the comments. And also, Practical Sailor is looking for talent, people who can write or make video content for us to share with the sailing world. If you want to be a contributor and make some extra cash, head over to practical-sailor.com/apply. We're looking for articles on everything sailboat related and even video content that we can share with viewers.